Somebody that watches this video to the end is going to win a free copy of Tongue, A Cognitive Hazard by Mr. Chase Hughes. So I want to tell you guys all about the importance of knowing where programming is coming from in order to enter into states of complete freedom to manifest whatever you want. Now, this video is going to combine the teachings of the Masters of the Far East with a review and the beautiful medicine that's inside of this book. Chase Hughes is an incredible human that has studied cognitive behavioral sciences. And after about 30,000 hours of studying behavioral sciences, he's come to the conclusion that the masters came to thousands of years ago, that programming is actually embedded in the very language that we use. When you read Tongue, A Cognitive Hazard, you're going to start to realize how impactful certain words have on your psyche and the way that you see, view, and live inside of this world. So if you want to feel completely free, if you want to step into a sense of self-mastery, knowing where the programs are, bringing your awareness to those programs actually releases the hold they have over you, which means you can enter into a state of complete freedom when you know where they're coming from. Now, in a foundational high mastery basis, what the masters taught is that when Jesus was alive and when all of the yogis are and were developing their own self-mastery, there were 0 words that represented negativity, judgment, limitation in their entire vocabulary. They were living with only sharing words that had high frequency tones. This allowed them to stay in states of self-mastery. This allowed them to expand their potential over and over and over again every single day. They didn't even have any programs in their brain that negativity, restrictions on what they could do even existed. Now just imagine a world where you're walking around and all you see is the good in every single person around you. All you see is the beauty in every single person around you. You can start to see how the parasite is what Chase calls it, the parasite of language, has gotten into our brain like a brain worm, taught us that being negative and judging others and having restrictions on who we are and what we can do is totally normal, when it's not. It's literally one of the biggest facades, one of the biggest shitty programs that has been thrown at all of humanity. I loved reading this book. I read it so many times already, and I did just get it, that it's already starting to fall apart. Now, this is a brand new copy that I'm going to give away to someone who watches this video to the end. And at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you how you can enter into win. What Chase has done is he's gone through the root of language. He's pulled out government psyops, labeled them, named them, and shown you how language was used to hypnotize and downgrade the human race. There are stories of the way language creeps into the brain and starts creating these parasitic programs of failure, programs of negativity, judgment against others. And what he also does is he goes into releasing you from those programs while you're reading the book, because it makes you aware of what the program is. And as soon as you're aware of something, you can cut that chain from controlling your perception, from controlling how you live in this world right now. You can literally free yourself completely of the programs that are coming through language right now just by reading this book. There's another, if anyone has ever experienced plant medicine, you know that there are more ways to communicate than just with words. And this is beyond plant medicine. A lot of children are born psychic. When we study the Atlantean principles, every one of them were using psychic messages to speak to one another. As soon as you place language on something, you dumb it down from what it could be. And when you're reading this book, a lot of the examples he gives is read things from your soul, perceive things from your soul rather than reading them through the narrow periscope of what language can convey. And if any of you guys have ever had a really incredible spiritual awakening or spiritual experience, you know that as soon as you start to explain it to someone else, it feels minimized. And the masters in the Far East also mentioned this. In the Q&As that Baird did, somebody asked Baird, they said, how would you define the word God? And Baird says, the second you get into defining, you dumb down what God is. You cannot define it. It's indefinable. That's also the premise of this book. That's the freedom that comes from reading this book. He goes through so many beautiful messages, and then he does get into medicines. And you can tell that Chase is someone that has experienced medicine, this type of plant medicine, and has conversed with the world without language, but being able to perceive what's going on through the breath of a tree. When you're standing on the earth and you use language and say, that's the earth, that's a tree, you've just shrunk down what those spiritual beings actually are, and you've minimized it to fit into a word. And then you got to ask yourself, where did these words come from? Why are we using such dumbed down, small words to perceive our reality when reality is literally limitless? And when we start perceiving reality as limitless, we start perceiving ourselves as limitless. That's the whole basis of understanding why language is so restrictive. To free yourself from feeling like you yourself are restricted in this human body. You're restricted by the words you can use. None of that is true. All of that is programming. To me, the spiritual evolutionary path has been a path of removing programs that have covered up the beautiful divinity of Christ inside of myself. And the more I drop these programs away from my reality, the more I start to experience my own limitlessness. The more that I look at things not with these eyes, and I don't listen to things with these ears, but I allow my soul to perceive what's going on. It's also the medicine you get from reading this book. It teaches you how to perceive with your soul, with your heart. It teaches you how to drop your eyes over your heart so that you're looking at this world through a lens of unlimited love and devotion. It completely changes your perceptual awareness of what's actually going on around you. So when you're walking through a forest, instead of naming things with the limitation of words, you can drop into the experience of the limitlessness of what a forest really is, which challenging to convey to you via words, but it's akin to the breath of God washing over every cell of your body with every step you take. It's akin to the earth sending love up through the bottoms of your feet as you walk across her. The bird song is actually this 6-dimensional frequency that has real physiological effects on your human body. Bird song lowers cortisol in the human body. When you stare at a fire with these eyes, you actually activate the stem cells inside your physiology. So there's all these multidimensional experiences that are going on around us. That's the heartbeat of our awakening. That if we do not know how language is controlling us, language will remove those experiences from our reality because we have shoved things into labels and boxes to try and understand things, when that way of doing stuff is just a continuation of limitation inside of our minds. I've witnessed a lot of people find it beneficial to be labeled with their health or their psychological health. And what happens when someone claims those labels? They make it a part of their self-identity. They've accepted a limitation that somebody else defined for them, and then they sewed it into who they are. And if the spiritual awakening path is to walk through this path and have no labels, but just be this ball of light that's infinitely existing throughout all of eternity, can you see how attaching oneself to externally defined labels is just a limitation game? And if you're someone that is very mentally charged and you feel like you need labels to be able to survive in this world, I feel like this book would bust your world right open to the place where you start to feel infinite freedom inside of your heart. You start to feel infinite peace inside of your heart, and you start to put more stock in the experience of the world around you rather than the control and the defining nature of the world around you. You switch from a fear-based way of being to a faith-based way of being. And when you're in faith, you're in presence. The other thing that the masters mention is that nothing that Jesus or any of the yogis that attained self-mastery ever spoke was anything but the present moment. Literally everything that was shared in the now and through the now. So another version of like, what is our language doing to us? Our language has taught us that there's a past and that there's a future when there isn't. There's only the present moment. Our language has taught us that matter, the things around us that are in the 3D realm, has some type of power over us when we are the ones who have power over the matter. So language has really twisted and turned the human brain into being submissive and accepting realities that don't only serve our soul in the present moment, they literally stop our awakening. And when you start to read the psyops that went on through the government and how they knew language, once accepted, would be the perfect way to control humanity, how easy it would be. We'll just teach it in the school systems. We'll normalize it through the families. No one will ever know. Well, guess what? We know now. We know about the limitations. We know how to free ourselves. All you have to do is tune in. You could read either book. Both books are going to do the same thing. This one is trippy AF. I'll be totally honest with you, and I love it for that. The book actually starts reading you. The book is a living codex. It's not just a book. Calling it a book is using language to minimize what's actually in this paper. Let's try and pick a random thing I can read to you. Lexical irony protocol, wherein legal language is used to demonstrate its own appetite. Pre-written clauses will be allowed to nullify themselves by meta-declaration. Example, this clause hereby revokes its authority to commit rhetorical violence. Such revocations are registered as acts to reframe procedural expectation in the human brain. Null. The paper's spine unglues. Words keep the right shape but forget to point at something out there directly. Mouth is still businesslike. Mouth arranges noun plus verb plus noun. Mouth produces receipts. Mouth hands you a map you did not ask for. Stop. Tongue found a river. Tongue follows. It did not name the river. It learned to listen to the water saying nothing. Law paper folds into leaf. Clause becomes leaflet. Leaflet becomes leaf. It gets trippier. I love it so much. So if you want to enter to win this book, I'm going to send this book to somebody. And the way that you're going to enter to win is by leaving a comment on this video. And in the comment, what I want you to do is I want you to describe to me, to the best of your ability, what this world would look and feel like to you if you were in a completely limitless state? That's step one. What would this world look and feel like to you if you were in a completely limitless state? And then the second part of your entry is to comment on what someone else commented with love surrounding your comment. So what we want to do is create an intentional community through this video of people sharing their visions of what the world would look and feel like if they were limitless right now, because you are. So by verbalizing that and having someone else see it, it actually puts you into a closer physical position of you experiencing it right now. And then I want you to take all the love in your heart and I want you to read somebody else's vision. Comment on their vision so that you amplify their confidence. And together, in the comment section of this video, we're going to create a portal of awakening together. In 7 days, you guys will have 7 days. It's going to launch January 9th on Friday. So the following Friday, so it would be January 16th, I'm going to choose one of the commenters and we will connect and I will get your address and I will send you this book. Okay? So just to summarize everything, realize in your mind's eye that if you can be completely present in every single moment and you can experience that moment as if you were a heartbeat of eternity, there are no words to define how great, eternal, how expanded you truly are. And you want to start going out into your world. One of the things that I started practicing after I read Tongue was when I was out in the grocery store and someone was speaking to me, I pretended that I was listening to them through my belly button. I brought my awareness down to my belly button and I just saw their words being sucked into my belly button. And then I saw my heart opening up fully and I saw these pulsations of love just moving towards them, this unconditional love. I was and am practicing to consciously transform how I operate inside of this world so that language no longer has such a hold over me. So these are just some things I made up in my head that allowed me to live the teachings of the Tongue book and put them into practice so that I could feel and experience this world without the limitation of language. And for a bonus entry, if you want to comment, a second comment, a third comment of what types of practices you're going to use that you've made up to transition your mind out of communicating with this world through the limitation of language, how you're going to go beyond that, that'll be an additional entry. I love you guys so much. I pray that you enjoy this video and I'll see you in the next one.